Hello everyone, Olivia and Amber here. Today we will be illustrating some of the main ideas and concepts from conflict theory.
Before we talk about those concepts of conflict theory, we want to do a little bit about the history. Conflict theory is rooted in sociology, where it is used to explain differences between classes within society and the competition for scarce resources, including economic wealth, political power, and social status. At a micro level, conflict theory helps us to examine the struggles that are present within families and other social relationships. We decided to base our presentation off of Les Mis. Les Mis is set in the early 19th century France. The characters in the story are based in the Revolutionary period. In the story, the city of Paris is in a state of unrest because they are expecting the death of General Lamarck. General Lamarck is one of the people who shows mercy to the poor class of Paris. With his death, the rebels start a revolution against the rich.
One of the first concepts we'll discuss is that individuals are self-oriented, meaning that they're going to look out for themselves based on the scarcity of resources. This can be an actual scarcity of resources, like in the story in the clip we're going to show, or they can be something that we create, like parents' praise or the cool office with the view at work. This competition brings a desire for power, which some people will do anything for. An example in the film is this clip with Fantine. She is the favorite of the boss, and the other women of the factory do all they can to get her thrown out of the job. As you watch a clip, pay attention to the things they do in order to gain power over Fantine.
And what a weird little innocent sister. No. Oh, come on, Fantine, let's have all the news. Dear Fantine, you must send us more money. Your child needs a doctor. There's no time to lose. Give the letter to me. It is none of your business. Put the husband at home and a bit on the side. Is there anyone here who can swear? But for God, she has nothing to fear. She has nothing to hide.
Hey, come on, stop that.
As you can see in that clip, the women steal a letter from Fantine and use that information to get the foreman's attention and make up lies about her, essentially. As the story goes on, they essentially get her thrown out of the factory, which leads to her demise, and it proves that the scarcity of resources will do anything, that people will do anything to get the power.
So speaking of scarcity of resources, as you saw in the clip, it causes a state of unrest, upheaval, and growth. Inequality is an inevitable aspect of most relationships when scarcity of resources is present. No matter what happens in a society, there will never be enough resources. One of the things that is different about conflict theory when comparing other theories is that instead of solving the problem, they just try to contain the problem.
One other idea from conflict theory is that there are different dynamics, whether you're in a group or family. So, for example, groups are voluntary, and so you have different roles in that versus your family. And because of those roles and kind of how the family versus the group are set up, it's typically easier to leave a group than it is to leave a family. And another idea from this concept is that strain on a group is not going to be as rough on the group as it will be on the family. And an example used in the book is that if a family member is ill, it's going to put more hardship on the family than it's going to be the group that the family is part of. Now, we do have a clip, and you will see how scarcity of resources brought about this group in this story. And one of the characters, Marius, he is from a wealthy family but chooses to join this group with the poorer class. And you'll see the contention between him and his grandfather in this clip, as well as how the people all react with the scarcity of resources.
Have mercy if you can. Look down upon your fellow man.
When's this gonna end? When we gonna live? Something's gonna happen now.
Something's gonna give. It'll come. It'll come. It'll come. It'll come. It'll come.
Where are the leaders of the land? Where is the king who runs this show? Only one man, General Lamarck, speaks for the people here below. Lamech is ill and fading fast. Won't last a week out, so they say.
With all the anger in the land, how long before the judgment day?
Before we cut the fat ones down to size.
Down to the king! Liberty for Rome!
Before the barricades are
Come tomorrow, we meet here at General Lamont's house. Bring your friends.
Marius!
Grandfather, have you any idea of the shame you bring on our family? It's a disgrace. Leave General Lamont! Leave General Lamont! Speed up!
So as you could see, there was some tension between Marius and his grandfather, obviously due to the role that he's expected to play in his family versus this role as a big leader of the rebels.
The last concept that we want to talk about is conflict is a confrontation over control of scarce resources. One cannot deal with internal conflict while also using energy to fight external conflict. Negative feelings can continue to grow and deepen, causing the conflict to grow internally. In Les Mis, we see this when Javert is deciding if he wants to continue the long days of chasing after Jean Valjean or to end his life. He was struggling with his duty to have morals or to follow the law. Javert was trying to be loyal to his job. Every time that Jean Valjean would slip through his hands, his frustration and hatred would deepen.
Who is this man? What sort of devil is he? To have me caught in a trap and choose to let me go free. It was his hour at last to put a seal on my fate. Wipe out the past and wash me clean off the slate. All it would take was a flick of his knife. Vengeance was his and he gave me back my life. Damned if I live in the debt of a thief. Damned if I yield at the end of the chase. I am the law and the law is not mocked. I'll spit his pity right back in his face. There is nothing on earth that we share. It is either Valjean or Javert.
As we can see in the clip, Javert is very conflicted as to what he should do. The clip goes on to show him having more of an internal battle with his internal roles as a human being, but also as his external roles as being a member of the law, and it ends up with him actually deciding that the best option was for him to end his life to be able to give Jean Valjean a chance at being free.
There have been many examples of conflict throughout the world and even within our families. We had our own revolution in our country, and we have all had conflict within our families. We even have conflict in the world about silly things like which side the toilet paper is supposed to go on or if pineapple goes on pizza. We are lucky as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to know that eventually we won't have to worry about conflict because we will be living the law of consecration and everyone's needs will be met. There will be no need for conflict. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, enjoyed the clips, and hope you all have a great week.